ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, שהכל נהיה בדברו. The Torah says that when Moses went up to Mount Sinai, he heard God telling him, "כה תאמר לבית יעקב ותגד לבני ישראל." This is what you should tell the house of Jacob and tell the children of Israel. Our rabbis say that the house of Jacob is a reference to the women. Bnei Israel is a reference to the men. Apparently, there are messages that are not exactly the same. The ones that you are to deliver to the men and the ones that you are to deliver to the women. I remember on one opportunity listening, or better, reading what Rabbi Soloveitchik wrote about his relationship with his parents. And he writes something very odd, that his father never kissed him. But he says he would shake his hand in such a manner that he felt all the love that is possible to feel through that handshake. It was a different relationship that he had with his father. It was basically an intellectual relationship, but it was also an emotional relationship. But it was different from the relationship that he had with his father. It made me think, what about myself? What was my relationship with my father? What did I learn from my father? My father was a rabbi, and I learned from him how to be a rabbi. The way he walked, the way he dressed. Everybody in Lima, Peru, where he was a rabbi for 30 years, immediately recognized him. He is the rabbi. I remember him sitting in the dining room and people coming in, and him responding to queries. How he would pay total attention to the person that was speaking to him. He taught me you have to do that. I don't always do it, but I feel my ear being pulled symbolically when I don't do it. Listen, your father taught you in a different way. He taught me what the laws of kashrut are. He taught me laws about different holidays. There are many things that I learned from him. Some I rebelled. He made me study. He disciplined me. But nowadays, how I appreciate that very much. As a matter of fact, I was elected to be the rabbi of a congregation in New York City because I knew how to read the Torah also. At least this is what I think. How did I learn how to read the Torah? Because my father used to force me to learn the first portion of the Torah reading of every week. Did I like doing that? No, I didn't. On the other hand, how grateful I am. I can walk into any synagogue today. If there's nobody to read the Torah on a Monday or Thursday, here I am. I know exactly what to do. And I did it so many times that even without reviewing it, I can do it practically perfectly well. All because that's what he taught me. So he was really a model for me on what to do, on an intellectual, on study, on behavior, on discipline. He taught me all these things. What did I learn from my mother? Well, my mother didn't go to the synagogue every day. She hardly went to the synagogue. I don't remember her saying prayers in the morning, afternoon. I remember one thing. At night, she would never go to sleep before saying Birkat Hamazon. She said one Birkat Hamazon for the whole day. She thanked God for all she had eaten that day at night. She would also say Kriyat Shema Al Hamita, a prayer for peace, for tranquility at night when she goes to bed, that God should watch over her. And she would say 4 chapters of Tehillim. She said the same ones every night. But she didn't go to bed without doing that. I remember her, how she entertained women in the house. I remember the smells of my house. You know, when you walked in on a Friday, it didn't smell the same thing as Thursday. It was different. You knew that Shabbat was coming. I never had to be taught that you eat dairy products for Shavuot. This is what we did at home. Every holiday has its own foods. You know, in Israel they eat sufganiyot for Hanukkah. Well, this is, I think, a latter invention of a Purim. We used to eat latkes, something different. It's made out of potatoes, fried. delicious to this day. I remember all these things from her. I remember how she was interested in who my friends are. Do I have the right friends? What do you talk with your friends about? What are you doing now? She was interested in many things. You know, there was like a separation. On the one hand, my father represented the intellectual aspect of Judaism. On the other hand, my mother represented the sentimental, the traditional. And I think that to be Jewish is a combination of both. You can't separate them. You have to have intellectual pursuits, no question about it. You have to have discipline. But you also have to have the many things that my mother taught, the different smells of the different days, that when you walk into a Jewish home, somehow because of the books or what have you, the music, because of the odors that you smell, you know that you're in a Jewish home. Make sure that your house reflects all that. Make sure that you transmit to your children not only the intellectual part, the affective part as well, because a Jew is a composite of both of them.